So we have Johnny and Bal, Micheala and Zach, Brett and MYRLA and Gail, Brett and Ryan. Okay, I just wanted to say the names in the beginning so that I, could have remembered them as I go on. I hope I do. This is gonna be short. I wanted to make a video on it because it's just starting to get good. These shows, or this particular show, to me, the first couple episodes, they drag out. There's like a long episode, but it's like a hour and a half of like people glancing at each other, and just saying the same thing over and over again. But so, the thing with MYRLA and Gil that got me this episode, and the other episodes, honestly, Gil is like, he reminds me of the Black Nanny episode of Brownish of Blackish. Because she would come over and she's like, oh, that's expensive. How much is that? All this stuff. It's just like, shut up. Like, so he goes, this episode, they go to each other's apartments and pack everything up so they can go to the neutral apartment complex or apartment building that the doctors have set up for them because they wanted everyone to be on a neutral ground. So they go to each other's homes to check each other's houses out. And then, they pack up and they move. So MYRLA and Gil, MYRLA, she's irritated by, it's hard to say with her if she's irritated or not. She just seems like kind of an introvert on that spectrum, kind of. Like, she's in her own head and she has her own thoughts. She's a nice person, but she's just kind of bottled up. It does seem like an introvert and an extrovert match. I don't know how that's gonna work out. But so she goes over and she, like I said, she seems irritated that he has a dog because dogs stink, and he's trying to get her to touch the dog and all that. She's just like, it stinks. He's like, that's what we have soap and water for. And then he's, I love, like, it's okay. I don't care if you judge me. I love my dog. And he's, hugging her dog up and, kissing it. And she's like, oh, you kiss your dog? He's like, no, the dog kisses me. The dog, the producer asked her if she even remembers the dog's name. And she's just like, she struggles for a minute and she remembers the dog's name is Hype. So the dog's name is Hype. I'm surprised I remember, If you watch any of my other videos, you know I struggle with this as well. But yeah, so that's just how she is about the dog. She likes things to be pristine or whatever. So a dog is not gonna really fall in line with that. So and then she also says, like, that's really gonna prolong the whole kiss thing because you're kissing this dog, and I feel the same way. That's gross. I mean, that's why I don't have one. I had a dog briefly and I had to give it up because I felt bad because I just felt like I was looking at it and seeing that it wanted to be more, kissy and sleep in my bed and all that. And I felt bad because I knew it was never going to happen because I'm just not that type. So it's beautiful. I loved my dog. I only had it for like a week, but I loved it because it was so cute. Anyway, so so then they go over to her house and he's like, well, I was expecting diamonds and gold everywhere. Oh, so bougie. She's so bougie. Just shut up. I want y'all to really go look at the Black Nanny episode of Blackish and just really see Gil. I cannot stand people like that, even at my little small level of life, of comfort, Just like something like, oh, I got DoorDash. Oh, you got DoorDash? That's too expensive. Shut up. Gosh, I cannot stand people who do that. And it's just like, you are calling her bougie, but you're like sitting high to look low. You met this person, this is their life. Like, and maybe it's not this serious, but it just seems like I just would be annoyed. And it's annoying to watch with Gil. Like, oh gosh. So then when they go to, so this, he goes, this is further with this stankness with him that I sense. Like, she has some pictures up on her wall of her travels and stuff, and he's just like, oh, your memory is your memory is so bad that you can't remember, these experiences, so you have to put pictures of yourself up, huh? You love yourself. And she's just like, who doesn't love themselves? And it's just like, girl, oh. I had that experience too. I had some pictures up of myself that I liked, and someone came over, you stuck on yourself. What? Gosh. This is just like one of those things where like you don't know why, you really don't know why you don't like someone as much as you don't like them, but at the end of the day it's because they just remind you of someone else in your life who you had very real experiences with, that makes you, and they remind you of that and then push you back in their mind, and so you kind of project those feelings onto them. But Gil, no, I don't care if I'm projecting old memories onto you of someone who acts like you're in the way. So yeah, so he's stuck on those pictures or whatever. And then at his house, he just go back to his house for a second, because he has a picture of his dad. He's like he's like, I look like him, don't I? To me, I don't see it really, but he's like, it's a funny story about this picture, because my dad had all these pictures. He had 4 pictures up. 3 of them were of very famous black men, and the 4th one was my dad. And whenever someone would come over to the house, he would say, these are the 4 most important men or strongest men in the world, or some mess like that or whatever. And he's basically describing I don't know if he was proud of it or he's joking or whatever, but he's basically describing narcissistic behavior when he's telling the story about his dad to me. And then he says, my dad's kind of like you. And I'm just like, Gil, if she headbutts you, what's gonna happen then? Because look how you acting, Gil. Ugh. So they go to the new apartment, and he's just like, well, it's way more than I would ever need. Shut up, Gil, shut up. Gosh, that's all I really remember. Oh no, so let's just go ahead to their meeting later on with the doctor. The doctor just kind of mediates with their little issue of no intimacy. Gil says that she just says basically she's a lot slower at making decisions than other people, and that's just who she is. And she'll kiss him when she wants to. And he says, well, it's funny because he asked her, could she see herself going the whole process without kissing him? And she said, yeah, probably. He said, well, I just told her, and I wanted to be 100% honest with her. If that happens, then I'm probably going to ask for a divorce, or I'm going to be asking for a divorce. That was kind of like, I don't know, like, if it was the other way around, I would totally have a different feeling. And I know this is wrong. The double standards are wrong. But I guess it's just more because I can empathize more with women. But I would kind of see, no, I'm not going to say that, because if I think it through, it's just not right. Or I don't know if it's just not right, or it's just that it's just what it is. Like, I would feel unattractive. I would feel as gross as the way she looked at me when I was kissing my dog. I would feel all these things. And I probably would feel like an idiot if I didn't get a divorce. So I guess he wasn't wrong. But it just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I guess it's like kind of like the truth hurts type of thing. So that's Gil and MYRLA. Bao and Johnny. Bao, the wedding, when they got married, I'm like, Bao, at first I'm like, Bao's, she's cool or whatever, but then she started, when she got when he sent her that gift, and it was a jersey, and she was just so stuck on that. I wanted a great mind and all this. So I'm just like, ugh. And then when she saw him and she's like, Johnny, I'm like, Bao, you finna get on my nerves, dang. But in the episodes after, she seemed a lot more chill. She seemed a lot more like she was able to chill and compromise. Johnny, I don't know the feelings that I got from him. But the feeling I got from him on this episode, like, you know, she snores and stuff like that, and so they had a moment of her being embarrassed by snoring, and him taking pictures of her, or not taking pictures of her, but excuse me, not taking pictures of her, but he took a video of her on the plane snoring, and you know, and he knows that she is embarrassed by that, and she made a big deal about it, and he made a big deal by saying that if this, you know, he does this thing where he likes to repeat the fact that if it was if this was another time, if they weren't married, then it would be over. Like, it's just like, why you keep saying that to her? Every time you turn around, you know, if this was the third date and I saw these red flags, I would know that I'm not supposed to be with that person. Okay, well, are you trying to make her feel as insecure as she's acting, as unsafe as she's acting? Yeah, I understand that we're supposed to be communicating with each other. They keep talking about how they were put together because they were a good match because they're great communicators. But you know, do you have to keep repeating certain things to this poor girl? Like, she's very uneasy, you can tell. And he even says, you know, when he goes to her house, and her house is clean and nice and stuff like that. And he says he can see himself cooking, and or her cooking in the kitchen, and him washing the dishes and watching the game. And she's like, the game? And you know, they're going over. So what happened at his house? I don't remember, so I'm not even gonna spend any time with that. But so they go to the new apartment, and Val is walking around the apartment. She's not feeling it, or it seems like she's not feeling it, because she's not as happy about it as he is. He just wants her to kind of just get in the moment and be happy about how they're in a new place and how nice it is. But she's doing an inspection. She's like, yeah, you have to. These things are important. They don't have any. I'm not a fan of electric stoves. You know, just very Val-like. And he don't like it. He says sometimes she takes the fun out of things, and I can see that. So what was it? So something happened with them. I don't remember what it was. I don't think it was anything that's gonna. I really just want to make this video because I know I'm gonna want to review this show later on down the line. So, and what he decided he was gonna, after they ate, because he was so fed up. You know, with her taking issue, and he said every time that they talk, they're always on the verge of a fight. So he just said, listen, like, after we eat, I'm gonna take a couple days, you know, off. And she's just like, I don't think that's cool. I have some concerns about that, because are you just gonna leave? You know, we're supposed to be married. You can't just, marriage is not a thing that you can leave and take a break from. You know what I'm saying? He's just like, well, I got to do it because this has been draining. So you know, she takes it on the chin, because she's like, I'm not gonna beg you, which is good. I'm glad she didn't. I'm sure she's hurt inside, and she's even more insecure than ever. But this is who Johnny apparently is. He likes to keep on telling us that he likes to cut and run, and we are getting a good glimpse of it now. We're getting a good vision. We're getting a good picture now, because you're gonna go. Like, did you not know what you were signing up for? I need to go reassess something. Get the fuck. Anyway, so he goes and does that, you know. So, and then they come back together in the end. They talk to the doctor, and and they just talk about these little things, the little issues that they have. But the thing that stuck out for me mostly, again, was Johnny. Just, you know, Johnny, what is with this stick and run with you? Like, Johnny feels like, and he did struggle to say this, he didn't want to say it, he's turned off by when she wants to be affectionate. First of all, she says that she tries to be affectionate, and he doesn't really, you know, receive it well. It's just funny because, you know, at the beginning, he wasn't sure whether or not he could be affectionate with her because she's not a touchy person. And I honestly think that just with her, she's probably touchy and feely, but she has this guard up because it's just like she doesn't want to be rejected, because she's insecure. And here we are with Johnny rejecting her and, making her even more insecure. Like, Johnny says that whenever she wants to be affectionate with him, she gets almost, or whenever she gets happy and giddy, she gets almost kid-like, and that turns him off. Like when she goes to kiss him and she puts her face up like, he doesn't like it. It turns him off. The doctor thankfully lets him know that you got to check that's not a bowel problem. That's a Johnny problem. You're clearly looking at a grown woman. Okay. And she just says, well, look, that's just, I don't know, that's the side of me that not many people get to see, only my partner. Like, and that's what makes me think that she is not, that she is touchy-feely, but she's very guarded with it. Because she has to be safe with you in order to show that side, and he's rejecting that side. Johnny, you need your butt beat. You know what I'm saying? Like, you need to tighten up. Oh, I gotta get off of you because I'm disgusted. So MYRLA and Gil, we already talked about. Then Johnny and Bao, and then Ryan and Brett. They had their dog situation, and their dogs meet, and Brett's dog, smaller dog, is, of course, smaller dogs are always more feisty, and the dog snaps on Ryan's dog, and Brett is very worried about it, and Ryan's just like, she worries about small things. She gets, she's uptight about it, and she just needs to loosen up, whether it's with flying or the manatees, she needs to just loosen up. And I don't think he liked her apartment. He said her apartment was very, it had color in it. She said his apartment had, just different shades of brown in it, but it was beautiful. He said that he could probably use some color in his life, and and it's a good thing that she seems to be the type of person that adds color to things. It's just funny because it makes you, it kind of goes back to his whole thing about basically only dating blondes, and she's a redhead, and he was kind of stuck on that. And people are weird. The more you think about stuff with people, it gets more and more complex. Anyway, so yeah, so that the dog situation, he wants her to loosen up. And so let's just go all the way to their meeting with the doctor. The doctor says, the doctor asked them, just how's the intimacy, and they're just like, we're cool with it or whatever, it's all good. And she's just like, how are things progressing emotionally? And Brett is just like, well, I have a crush on him. And she just says it's really cute. Brett, I was struggling with Brett's look just because she looked like somebody to me. She looked like, I can't think of his name, but, the way she held her mouth is like him. Napoleon Dynamite, the dude from the, and that obviously looks stupid. But I guess it's just the way her mouth is. But she's actually beautiful the more you look at her, I think. Anyway, so she has this very cute reaction to saying that she has a crush on him, and he's just like, "Are you blushing?" And she just loves the fact that he's just, he's the more I look at him as well. Like, at first I thought he just looked like kind of like a creep, because he was stressed the hell out all the time. Like, he was on the verge of having a crying fit, maybe. Just, he looked like he was sweaty and all that to me. But now I just kind of see, what she likes about him. Actually at his house, he did have, the whole thing where she loves animals, and, he has this huge deer head up, and, she's just like, well, did you kill that? And he was just like, I didn't kill it. Of course, I just have a random deer on my wall. Because, he's just like, he's hoping that she gets over it because it's just who he is. And I think that she's going to try to compromise on that. And that's basically what the doctor tells them, you know, you just have to, you have these things, these small things that you have to compromise on, but you guys have very good potential. And like I said, she said she has a crush on him, and the doctor says, how do you feel? And he's just like, well, the doctor says, are you in like with her? And he's like, yeah, I am. And I can see that going further. And the doctor's like, what do you mean by that? And then, Brett answers for him, and she just says, you know, he can see it going on into love. And then Ryan's like, yeah, that, you know, he's very flirty, you know, he's very, maybe I have a crush on Ryan. The doctor asked him, you know, what do you think, you know, love, what is the feeling that you had? What did you feel with the person who you loved before? And he's just like, I felt it's just a feeling that I have, that I love them more than myself, or that I would do for them, or I would put them before myself. And the doctor pettily asked, shadily asked, you know, so you don't feel that way about her? And you know, it just, I say it's shady and petty because obviously they've only known each other for a couple weeks. Why would he put her before himself? So even though he has a couple times, because he could just leave, you know, he could have just left at any time, but she you know, so he's just like, you know, yeah, no, I don't feel that way yet, and I'm hoping that we're on the same page with that, you know. And then they have the music going, and you know, the camera pans to her, and she's not really making a concerning face, but she's just like, yeah, I get it too, because it's just like, it's not a deep thing, it's not a hard thing to understand, like, we're not in love yet, but it was kind of, the way it was worded, it was kind of, I don't know, like, I hope she understands that I'm not going to put her tail before my tail. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. So that was them. Then, so we have, we did Ballinger and Johnny. We did Brett, and we just did Brett and Ryan. And we did Gil and MYRLA. Let's go to Micheala and freaking Micheala and freaking ZACK. Now, Micheala and ZACK. Micheala, oh my God, ZACK is so cute. Okay, ZACK got some of his stuff with him or whatever. When he you know, he's had COVID or whatever, so she hasn't seen him in a while. And when she finally gets to see him, he surprises her because he tells her he tested positive for COVID again, so she didn't think she was going to see him. But he shows up, he brings flowers and all that stuff. He comes in, and they're all happy to see each other. And she's just extremely happy and getting to see him. And they get she has some gifts for him that she had bought for their 1 week anniversary. And you know, he's opening up the gifts, and he's just like, well, I don't deserve all this, which, you know, that stuck out to me because I watched the episode already before, but I did a refresher before this, and this part stuck out to me, and I'll bring it up later. So he, for some reason, he has to sleep with his dog. He has to wait for his dog to fall asleep before he goes to bed with Micheala. But he falls asleep with the dog, and he never goes back in there with Micheala. He just wakes up, and he takes the dog to dog daycare. When Micheala wakes up and she doesn't see him, she's furious. She goes to the bathroom, collects some Clorox wipes and some toilet paper, brings it out to the kitchen area, you know, the dining table area, and slams it down like a monster. Micheala, what's up with you and your temper, girl? I know they call you the hurricane and stuff, but you gotta tighten up. Oh goodness. Homegirl goes in the back and grabs all her things and leaves. They had a conversation before this about what they would do when an argument happens, which is funny because Micheala says that she would never just up and leave because she finds that abusive. And then here she is doing it. And they bring it up. Zach brings this up to her, right before the doctor comes. They're sitting there. He's just like, well, what's wrong with you? Like, and she's just like, well, I'm upset because you just left me. You just left me in there. You didn't say anything. You could have texted me. And he's just like, what do you, I'm sorry. I fell asleep. I got up and I was gone. And she was like, you were gone till 9 or something like that. And she's like, no, you were not gone until 9. You're lying. And he was just like, what the, he's not understanding why she's acting the way she's acting. Nobody is but her. And he's just like, like I say, he brings up the fact that she said she wouldn't do this, and he just says he thinks it's funny. She's like, no, it's not funny. He's just like, Micheala, you acting like a child, girl. You gotta tighten up. So the doctor comes, and she's still acting like a child. They're sitting far apart, and the doctor notices, some issues, and they said he just had an issue, and the doctor's like, welcome to marriage. So the doctor tells Michael or Zach to slide closer to Micheala, and he does, and she's just acting stank or whatever. He's like, look, I want you to know our argument doesn't make me feel different about you. I still believe you're a phenomenal woman and all this. And she gives him this look like, just, girl, like, grow up, But like I said, it just kind of goes back to when she gave him that gift and he said he doesn't deserve it. Like, I learned something along the way, about people giving you compliments and you recoiling and stuff like that. It's just it's really offensive to them. It's like someone handing you a gift and you handing it right back. It's you should just be gracious about compliments and someone trying to be there for you. And this is a lesson that I hope that Micheala learned, because the doctor explained this to her when she was basically crying about how she felt about him not being there, and Zach, got closer to her and tried to reach out to her, and she literally was like, no, no. Like, how a kid doesn't want to be hugged or something, and they just stretch out, and that's what she does. And the doctor's like, I want you to really think about what you're doing, and Zach is visibly over it. Zach really did not like that, and the doctor's like, I know how you feel. Just calm down. Like, he's just so he says, Kayla, I want you to tell you recall this man was trying to reach out to you and you recalled and stuff, and she's just like, I did. My dad died and da 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 da. So the doctor's trying to explain they're just going deep on the fact that her father died, and the fact that when Zach left, that triggered that in her, which to me, I don't know. But to me, it really seems like that just means that Micheala don't need to be married right now, especially to a stranger, because you're gonna mess up Zach's head because what you got going on. Zach says that he can and Micheala, Zach says that he can handle, and he wants to be there for her throughout this. He can't imagine. He wants to, support her throughout this. She said, no, it's a lot. Because, you can't, I don't want to put that on you. You can't do it. You can't handle it. The doctor's like, why are you, he's reaching out to you. He's offering something to you and you're pushing it, you're pushing it away. Why? This is what you got married for, right? She was like, yeah. And, oh my gosh, I know I talked about Johnny, keep talking about him, leaving and stuff like that, and how it's wrong for him to keep throwing out there that he'll leave, and saying, this is what you signed up for. You can't just leave or whatever in the marriage. But at the same time, what Micheala is doing, I mean, red flag city. Like, oh my gosh, poor Zach, poor Zach. But that's it until next week. I actually forgot about Jose and Rachel. I thought I did so good, remembering the names. But they, it's not much to remember about them. This is why I was saying I don't really like to do the initial episodes, because personally, as much as I love these type of shows, I don't get into them until the end. Rachel and Jose, they don't have too much going on. They're actually so happy about each other that Rachel says when they have their meeting, because of course they see each other's apartments. She goes to his house and she sees his big whiteboard budget. She's imitated by it. He thinks that the calendar that she mentions having on her wall is something close to what he has going on. She corrects him and says, I don't have any numbers on mine. Like his budget is wild. He lets her know, you need to get to something like this if you want to get to that good, over 800. I can't remember what he said about his score, but if you want to get to that, you need something like this. And, he's pointing to his whiteboard, and he goes into her house and he sees all of her. She has like some water bottles on the floor. Like when he opens the door, he says, "Oh, you got these water bottles here, almost tripped." I'm sure he's joking about that, but I don't know, because he really said that she might be a hoarder because she had those water bottles right there, because he might discard them. She also had more than one pen on her desk that he thought was extra. Like, what are you going to do with these in a couple years? Oh gosh. And then they talk about how she likes to go on a lot of trips and stuff. And that's just an issue for him because it's a lot of money. He says, you have your car is not that great. You probably wouldn't you prefer a better car to go to work in? Like, you really need a good car because, you got to count on that, versus going on a trip every year. And she's just like, I got to go on these trips. And so, of course, that's what they talk about. And they love their new apartment as well. So there's really no drama with them. But when the doctor comes, they just talk about the money issue. But they're basically just elated to be together and happy they found each other. Rachel is wild. Like, Rachel also always says things that are kind of like, should I? If I really think about this, it could be a red flag. But they just seem so happy. You just kind of want to give it to them. But Rachel says when she describes her feeling, when the doctor asked her how she's doing, she says, this is exactly what I wanted, to be with someone. And once again, she could have picked somebody out of the park and just had him and been happy. It doesn't matter that it's Jose. Like at the beginning, she said, she just wanted, it didn't, the looks didn't matter, as long as she just wanted to have somebody, and he was a little concerned about that because he wants to feel special, in himself. I don't know if he really feels that yet. The doctor tells him that he's thinking too much. And that, and when Rachel says that she's worried that, of course they admit that they've been intimate already. And she's worried that things are just going to be so passionate that they don't really deal with things or something. I don't know. But the doctor basically just told both of them, you guys are worrying too much. The science worked for y'all to be together, so it makes sense that everything is going so well. So just don't worry about it. Just kind of go with it. And that was it. I guess that's why I didn't remember them, because it wasn't too much to remember. Like, I hope that they all work out right. But like I said, Rachel has makes these statements that makes it seem like she could have just had anybody. And then as long as it was somebody, she'd be happy to be there. And then, him with Jose with his whole plan, that he just kind of wants to plop. He wants her to move into. Rachel says that Jose wants her to move into his house, and she says she's not quite there yet. But it really also seems like with him, he has his life all together. He has a plan and everything that he wants. He just needs a wife to be there. It's really also the same with Johnny. They all had this image, which I think we probably all do, of what they want, and anything that deviates from that is a red flag, which, again, is something that we all feel, I guess. I don't know. Just watching it and other people are just like, But, in life, that's how that goes.